Hey everybody, Sal Capaccio here, WGR Sports Radio 550, Bill's sideline reporter, inviting you to do what I do every Wednesday and Friday night. That's check out 30 Minutes Live with CDP, coming at you from Ontario, right on your Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube channels. You can check it out every Wednesday and Friday night, just like I do. 30 Minutes Live with CDP.
Hey everybody, it's CDP, but by the way, it's 30 Minutes Live with CDP tonight, Tuesday night special. I got Chris Parker, known as the Bulldog from WGR 550 in Buffalo, coming on. I will bring him on in just a minute. Thank you everybody for coming on tonight and watching. And like I said, I'm a longtime listener of WGR 550 and of the Bulldog and Shope. They've been on there, I think, since 2003. There's a picture of Chris right there. So I'm going to bring on my guest in a minute. And I'm looking forward to talking to the Bulldog tonight about the Buffalo Bills. And I don't know if he wants to quite talk about the Buffalo Sabres, but in honor of having a Buffalo guest tonight, I got my Buffalo Bison's hat on tonight. So 1 second, guys, I'm going to bring on the Bulldog from WGR. Hey, Chris. Hi, Bulldog. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Chris? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Sure. You've got your Bison's hat. I've got my New Mexico Ice Wolves hat here in honor of my son, the goalie, playing in the North American Hockey League in New Mexico. So gotta pimp the kid.
Cool. I didn't even know there was a hockey league in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a Tier 2 junior league. Maybe comparable to like the BCHL and the AJHL up in British Columbia and Alberta, respectively. So, yeah.
Oh, cool. I was kind of hesitant to talk to you about the Sabres. Like the Bills, I had no problem talking to you about, but I just thought after last night's game against the Flyers, that was just a devastating way to lose a game.
Yeah. No question. Even right to the bitter end, right? Tage Thompson's got a look at an empty net. He's got an open teammate on his left, and I don't know, he loses his footing and just lunges and shuffleboards the puck toward the empty net and misses. And I don't know, 20 seconds later, the Flyers come down and tie it up, force overtime. So, yeah, I mean, in a year where, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but in a year where you were like if you were in a playoff race, it would have been the kind of game that we would have been really upset about and talking about how could you not make a better effort on the empty net? What are you doing for a 3-goal lead in the third period? And instead, it's another amazing achievement in a season full of ineptitude.
Well, they played well last night for about 50 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes, I think that first Flyers goal got them back in it, and then they got the next one to make it 3-2, and then they pulled the goalie with a minute and a half, 2 minutes left, and they got that goal with $1:29 left, and then yeah. So it's just a tough way to lose because, like I said, Chris, you've been covering sports a long time. No pro athlete in any sport wants to lose 17, 18 in a row.
Oh.
It's no. So these guys, they want to win badly, and
I think, Chris, if you were watching the game, you would have noticed like the look of sheer joy on the faces of the players, like Brandon Montour's goal, particularly on that third goal. They did a nice job of getting a real close-up of him and just how excited he was for the pass from Tage Thompson and just to get the goal, and it's 3-0, and like, we're going to win, we're going to break this streak. There's no way we're blowing a 3-goal lead, and so much for that.
I was going to say, I didn't think they were a Stanley Cup team when the season started, but I really thought they could have been possible playoff team. I just didn't see this coming.
No, I think, I think that's right. I thought they had at least a decent chance of being a team contending for a playoff spot, whether they would have made it or not. But nothing worked. I mean, Eichel, it seems, has been hurt all year, managed to play 21 games. Now he's out. Eric Stahl didn't work. Taylor Hall can't seem to score. COVID. I mean, they just, you name it, they've had it. So, I don't know. We'll pour over it for a few more months here and figure out what the next steps are. But it might be tempting, I think, to just sort of shovel the whole season into a landfill and just sort of start fresh next year. I mean, there'll be changes, I'm sure, including a permanent coach, I imagine. But man, they've really had a tough run with the injuries and the virus. It's been a brutal year.
I was going to say, Kevin Adams, you figure he's safe for a couple more years at least?
I don't know about a couple. They've been burning through GMs almost as fast as they're burning through coaches. So, I mean, Murray didn't get to hire a second coach. Bottrell did. It didn't work. So, yeah, you know, I assume he's safe, but, you know, I don't know. I don't know what their expectations are anymore, you know, the ownership. They have not. We'll see if this changes. There's some news bubbling around that, like, they're going to address the shortcomings and the short staffing of the hockey department, up to and including assistants to work directly under Adams. But they're very short on scouts, and so I don't know what ownership is expecting. There was a clip that made the rounds that they put out there from a behind the scenes series that they do called Beyond Blue and Gold that sort of chronicled the signing of Taylor Hall. And when Kevin Adams and Terry Pegula were talking about that possibility, Pegula is heard. He's not on camera. They're just showing a closed door in the scene, but it's plainly, we know it's Adams and Pegula talking. And Pegula says to Adams, if we sign this guy, we're not just trying to be a playoff team. We're like a real cup contender.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, holy cow. I mean, that's obviously not how this went, but it does sort of shine a light, I think, a little bit anyway, into what his thinking, what ownership's thinking was going into this year. So I don't know what they'll expect Adams to do with another off season with this season in the books, but their expectations might be unrealistic considering that he thought they were a cup contender. And like, look, Taylor Hall and Eric Stahl are nice pieces to add in an off season, but to think that they were a cup contender with vision with Pittsburgh and Tampa, well, not Tampa, Washington,
Boston.
I mean, it's just, that's insane.
I was going to say, the Pegulas have done a nice job turning the Bills around, and I think one of the keys with that franchise is stability. They finally got a GM, a coaching in place, and their stability. And the Sabres have not had stability since Lindy Ruff's left.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you need, well, how do you get to stability, right? I mean, you need success. You need to have some success. So, you know, I don't think the Bills, you know, when they took the Bills over, you know, they hired Rex Ryan, and that was not stable. Blew up in less than 2 years, but they hit it right with McDermott. I mean, they put a lot of faith in him. It was, you know, I thought a little risky to basically give him the keys to the kingdom. I mean, I think he hired Brandon Beane. I think Brandon Beane, even though we know what their titles are, I think McDermott is the king. You know, he's the number one guy there. And to put that amount of faith in a guy who had only been a defense coordinator in the league was risky, but they got paid off. It worked. They need to find, you know, some sort of winning combination of personalities and skill, acumen at you know, recognizing talent, picking talent, developing talent, because they're just nowhere with the hockey team. I mean, absolutely.
Well, I'm a huge Eagles fan, and I've always liked Sean McDermott when he was with the Eagles from 1999 to 2010. He even got on the Eagles on Andy Reid's coaching staff as an intern. So he really paid his dues when he became with the Eagles. So I'll tell you this, I wouldn't have mind McDermott coming back to Philly, but you guys definitely have a keeper for a coach. I think he should be in Buffalo for a long time.
Oh, yeah, he's not going anywhere. Everybody is signed up. He and Bean both signed contract extensions. McDermott's was in the summer. I think Bean's was a little later than that, but they're matched up. So, yeah, I mean, they got the quarterback right, and that's the most important thing to get right. So they're in great shape. I mean, they are. It's crazy how opposed the directions of the two franchises the Pegulas own are. I mean, the Bills look like a model franchise right now.
Mm-hmm.
Sabres are a dumpster fire. It's incredible.
I was going to say the NHL record for losing streak is 30 in a row by the 80-81 Winnipeg Jets, I believe. So the Sabres still have a shot at that record.
Yeah, sure. They got a lot of work to do. We'll see if they can get to 20 this week, I suppose, right? They got a game tomorrow and Thursday. So
I have a feeling they're going to pull it out tomorrow. I really do think they're going to end this streak, and I think it's going to come tomorrow because I'm not overly impressed with the Flyers lately.
No, I mean, we were talking today on our show about how, we asked our beat reporter, Paul Hamilton, he's been following and covering hockey for a lifetime. Did you feel like they had it? And he said, yeah, I liked how they played. And I said, yeah, I liked how they played too, but I thought they had it because I thought the Flyers were dead. Right? And they've been in a tough spot for quite a while now. There's been a lot of talk about maybe their coach is in trouble. And I thought that was coming to a head last night, and then all they did was score 4 goals in 20 minutes and 40-some seconds.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, they're certainly capable of putting another terrible effort on the ice tomorrow night when they play the Sabres again.
How many fans are allowed to go to the games now in Buffalo?
They are at 10% capacity, which is 1,970, but they did not sell tickets for last night's game. And they are not selling tickets for tomorrow's game either. There are 4 games coming up in early April that they are making tickets available for. I don't know why they made the choice they made, but they had, it's a couple of weeks ago now, they had a Thursday night where they hosted 700 or so frontline workers from Roswell Park and other hospitals. And then the game 2 days later, an afternoon game against the Bruins, was going to be the first game that fans had bought tickets for that were going to be able to go. And it seemed in the run-up to that they weren't even going to sell the 1,970. Like, it was not – they're in such tough shape that they can't even find 2,000 people that want to go to the games. And, there's a COVID test attached to that too, so there's extra cost. Now that's changed. Now if you've got a vaccine and can show your vaccine card, you don't have to get a new test, so the cost is mitigated. But I don't know why they didn't sell last night or tomorrow's game, but early April, again, like I said, they'll have some fans in the building.
I know, being a Red Wings fan and a Tigers fan, I know the Red Wings right now can only have 750 fans, but the Tigers, I guess now can have 20% of capacity, so they can have 8,200 fans for their home opener. And you know what? It's not a lot, but it's better than playing in an empty ballpark.
Sure, yeah. I think we found out when fans were allowed to go to the playoff games here for the Bills. The Baltimore game particularly, like, the crowd on TV sounded crazy. There were videos that fans put out when Taron Johnson made that incredible third quarter 101-yard touchdown interception return. The roar of the crowd, I mean, it sounded like there were 70,000 people in there. It was incredible. So, I think you get 8,000 people, but put 8,000 people, like that. Yeah. Better than nothing.
I have a soft spot for the Bills. I'm an Eagles fan, but Buffalo's just a smaller version of Philadelphia. And like I said, the Eagles are in a rebuild now for the next couple of years. I really hope you guys get a Super Bowl this year or in the next 2 years because, like I said, I've been to Buffalo a lot of times. I love it there. It's like one of my favorite places to visit. Going across the border, everybody's friendly and stuff like that, and the Bills fans I think you guys are like the Cubs fans of the NFL.
Yeah. We have been through it. There's no question about that. I mean, to endure the playoff drought that we did, a price has been paid. But certainly, things are looking legitimately up. I mean, they have been in the playoffs now 3 years out of 4.
Mm-hmm.
That first year McDermott got here, nobody thought that team was going to really be in any kind of danger once the playoffs came, and they meekly went out, losing in Jacksonville 10-3. It was a little better year before last with the wild card loss in Houston, but they look like a bona fide real contender now, and I think that just everybody just lit up. I mean, it was such a joyride this year. I mean, from really the whole month of December. You know, the games in San Francisco, you had the night game in Week 16 in Foxborough, the clincher in Denver. Those games were all like victory laps. You know, they were never really in doubt from pretty early in the game. And we just got to sit back and watch Bill Belichick throw telephones. So it was fantastic. And people, we were, you know, for a while, it got a little self-indulgent, even, I would say, for myself, because for days at a time, our shows were people just calling and like in tears, thanking us for shepherding them through the drought and all the bad times, and still being here to enjoy the good. And it was wonderful. It was heartwarming, but I started to get a little self-conscious about it. Like what? I mean, we're just the guys on the radio, okay? Like, let's. It's just like, thank you. I'm glad that I mean something to you, but like I'm feeling a little weird about it being a subject so regularly on the show. You know, it just it was really a hell of a time.
Well, like I said, I've listened to you and Schulp for I think 15 or years or longer, and even though we never really met each other, I feel like I know you because I listen to you guys all the time, and you just, you know what I mean? You just get that connection with your guys.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't get me wrong. I hope what I just said a minute ago didn't come out like I was like upset or anything. I just didn't want there to be too much of the show with us as the subject or me as the subject, you know. That's all. But no, I get that. I mean, that attachment. I mean, I work in radio for a reason. I felt that with people I listened to when I was younger, and even as an adult. I mean, the people to me that are good at this form that connection with their audience, and that's why you can get away with, you know, drafting Cantaloupe. And people still will stay with you and listen and enjoy, you know, whatever you're doing, because they like your personality and they you know, they appreciate how you go about it. So I dig that. Do you mind me asking, like, why are you in Windsor? You mentioned Detroit.
No, I'm in Guelph, which is about at 2 hours from Buffalo.
Yeah. No, Guelph. I drove through Guelph with the giant goalie son on the way to St. Marie training camp a couple summers ago, when he was drafted by the Sioux Greyhounds. I'm sure you know about the OHL.
Oh yeah, I'm actually involved with Rogers TV doing the camera work for the Storm games.
Oh, awesome! Yeah. Well, Owen was drafted. Our oldest son, Owen, was drafted by the Sioux in 2018, and we went there with no expectations whatsoever, and he made the team. He didn't sign and stay, but it was amazing.
That's awesome. Yes.
Incredible experience and very meaningful for us, because it sort of opened our eyes to what might be possible for him, which is how he's ended up in New Mexico playing hockey. Yeah, I mean, I think I was just wondering how you got interested in listening to our show. That's why I asked.
Guelph to Buffalo is 2 hours, and before COVID struck, I was coming over to your Amherst, Niagara Falls, Buffalo area, probably once a month, pretty well once a month, because it's not that far of a drive. Yeah. And I have friends in the Buffalo area, and it's a great area. And I see why a lot of people like living in the Buffalo area.
Yeah, good. All right, good to know. Yeah.
So, and you guys are, like I said, I'm a radio guy. I like TV, but I'm a radio guy, and I love listening to you guys and the guys in Toronto. And now with the internet and everything, I can listen to even more guys on the radio.
Boy, I'll tell you what. I used to, on the way to work, back when I used to go to work, I've been working from this chair for over a year now, which is fine. I mean, I'm happy up here. I got my music and my guitars and everything around. It's wonderful. But when I used to go to work, when the guys that are on in the same time slot as us now on TSN were on 12 to 2 with Jeff O'Neill and Jamie McLennan and Brian Hayes.
Yep.
I loved that show. Love that show. I mean, whenever I'm off, and even like with Owen driving around, he played largely in Canada for 2 years with the Buffalo Regals. We'd have trips, and if there was a Friday ride, I'd be like excited knowing I'm going to get to listen because they eventually they moved. They were so good, I knew it was coming. They moved from noon to 2 to the same time slot as me, so I don't get to listen to them anymore. But man, do I love their show! It is a perfect mix of personalities and the two guys that played in the league. They have great stories. They've got great insight, but their personalities are just tremendous. I mean, that show to me it's one of the best shows in North America.
Hayes actually did play in the OHL with the Oshawa Generals. I just found that out recently. And I did have the pleasure of interviewing Jamie McClellan Noodles on here as well. And he was great to come on here and talk to me about his career.
Yeah, I've never met any of those guys. I've communicated with O'Neill a little bit via social media, but I think they're just a tremendous show. I wish it wasn't on against us.
I was gonna say, and Jeff O'Neill played his junior A hockey with the Guelph Storm too. Him and Todd Bertuzzi. So I saw him before he got to Hartford.
Right.
And he was quite a talented player. So are you okay for time? I was just gonna ask you a few questions.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah.
You're good? Okay, I just always like to check with my guests.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. All right. My first question I was going to ask you, can you just tell my audience just a little bit about yourself?
Well, I mean, what do you want to know? That could get pretty broad.
I guess how you got in the industry, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. I just wanted to be specific. I got a lot.
I should have been a little more specific.
I got the only 2 years that I did not live in Buffalo. I moved to New Haven, Connecticut in 1988. And I was there from 88 until the end of the 90s, really like spring of 91, I guess I would have come home to Buffalo. So while I was there, a couple things happened. One, the Bills got good while I was away. And certain, I don't know, like as I got done with high school and into college the first time, I sort of drifted away from sports. I loved the Bills and Sabres and the Red Sox as a kid. But when I got into my 20s, I got interested in some other stuff. And so the sports stuff was a little on the back burner. And eventually that led me to moving away. And while I was away, I started listening to WFAN in New York, the John originator.
Oh, yes.
Right. So, and that was Imus in the morning, which was a geniusly funny, entertaining radio show. And it was Mike and the Mad Dog in the afternoon. And lots of other talented people all around, but those were the anchors. And I loved it. I mean, I just listened all day. I was running a restaurant, so I had a radio in the kitchen, and I was always listening, driving, listening. So I really got the bug about sports radio, and that coupled with the Bills' ascendance while I was there got me really interested in pursuing this. So eventually, push came to shove, and things sort of fell apart in Connecticut, and I decided to come home, move, a total cliche, move back into my parents' basement as a 25-year-old and go back to Buff State to work on a broadcasting degree. And that's what I did. And the goal was to get basically this job. And it worked somehow. So that's it. I mean, the fire got lit by those guys in New York and by the Bills. Like, I don't know if the fuse would have burned all the way down if the Bills hadn't gotten good when they got good, but they did. And so I got real interested in doing it and came back here, and I interned my last college credits at Buff State. I mean, I worked all kinds of stuff at the college radio station, doing college basketball, college football, and eventually did an internship with Howard Simon, who's a morning host at WGR here in Buffalo. Did an internship with him at WBEN, where he was working then, and that turned into a show eventually. So I was very fortunate that it turned out that way, but that was the path.
Because like I said, I got a taste of broadcasting a couple years ago with a semi-pro basketball team here called the Guelph Nighthawks, and I realize I'm almost 49 years old, but I've been with Rogers TV for a year now. With before COVID, as a camera operator, and then I started doing my podcast 11 months ago, and I've decided now I really want to make an effort to get into radio broadcasting, and I'm hoping to take a radio broadcasting 2-year program here in the Kitchener area. So,
well, I mean, there's I would hope anyway that with so much hockey around, like eventually there's maybe opportunities to break in that way, like doing radio play-by-play or something if you're interested in that. So that's awesome.
yeah, and I'm very lucky because the social media with the technology, like I never thought a couple years ago I'd be able to do my own podcast from my own basement. This is just amazing.
Dude, I know. I mean, I mean, it's been a hell of a year, of course, right? But honestly, a year ago at this time, like I just started working from home at that time, and that was what had to be done. So we did it, and it's worked out really well. And I thought right away we're lucky enough to have a summer place, a cottage in Ridgeway, Ontario, which is real close, like 15 minutes over the border. But it's right on the lake, and it's beautiful. And when we started doing this and it worked, like on the air, like you can't really tell that I'm not in the room with Mike. Like we've worked well enough together and long enough together that it's sort of seamless, even though I'm in North Buffalo and he's in Amherst doing the show from the studio. I thought, you know what this is? This is the first step to me being able to work from the cottage in the summer. That's what this is going to be. So it's amazing, the technology, like the things that you can do. I mean, I hope that comes to pass. I hope the border opens at some point. It was heartbreaking for us to not. I mean, my wife's family has had this place for generations, and it was very tough to not be up there like that.
Yeah, I haven't been across the border since last February before all this happened, and I'll be honest. Right now, our numbers have gone up, and my gut feeling is the border won't be open until October or November because we are well behind you guys for vaccines. I haven't even had my first vaccine shot yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm keeping up with the news, and
okay.
I hear what you're saying. I have to hold out hope. Yes, because it to us, but it won't be a shock if it doesn't happen. I know that.
I hope it does open up sooner than I'm predicting. So, like I said, because I miss going to sporting events. I love going to the States for hockey, football, baseball games. I love coming over to New York State and the Buffalo area, and it's just, I guess maybe now in the future we'll appreciate things a little bit more than we did before.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So. Okay, my next question for you, and I've always been curious about this question. This one I wanted to ask you: how did you get the nickname Bulldog?
Oh, it's such a crappy story, Chris. It really is. It's not a good story. They decided that they wanted to give me a show. At the time, Howard, who I already mentioned, was doing like 6 to 9, I think, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the evening. And they had just gotten the Bills contract on the radio starting in the 94 season, which is why one of the reasons why I went to intern there is I thought, well, they're getting the Bills. I'll bet they're going to need people. So I thought, be a good spot to be in, interning, hopefully turn it into a job. And I was right. So they decided to do that and to put me on from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. That was my first show. And they told me they wanted a nickname. Did you have a nickname? And I'm like, I have never had a nickname. I guess some people at the the pizza places I worked called me CP or Parks, and I'm like, that's it. I don't have a nickname. And so one of the bosses there at the time, Kevin Keenan, who was the news director and program director, came up with Bulldog, and they decided to go with it. At the time, the character on the Frasier sitcom was a very popular show. So they thought like the name would be, recognizable and would help and whatever. So I was in no position to, argue or how do you come up with a nickname for yourself? Right. Like that was basically what I was charged with. I mean, I went to my friends and said like, they want me to come up with a nickname. And they were like, I don't want to swear on your podcast, but
it's okay. It's okay.
Go, what yourself. So I was left at their mercy basically. So they came up with it and I ran with it. And here we are 25 years later.
Yeah, well, okay, I never knew that. My nickname is kind of simple. CDP is my initials, and I came up with the name of my podcast, 30 Minutes Live with CDP, because that's what my friends call me, CDP.
Yeah. See, I would have been with CP, but, they didn't want to, they needed something a little flashier, I guess,
Yes.
The big, sexy AM radio.
So I was going to say, Howard Simon's going to be coming on my show in a couple weeks as well. I'm going to be honest. Everybody in this industry in Canada and the States has been really great with me, especially the guys like yourself and Dave Jixter from 97 Rock, Keith Radford's come on. I've had John Murphy come on. Like everybody from your area too has been really great with me, and I really appreciate it.
That doesn't surprise me at all. All those people you mentioned, I don't know Keith personally. I am positive I would love him if I ever met him. Like everything I've heard about him, people who do know him well, there's no question I would just adore knowing the guy. But those other cats are all great. Jixter is super, super good dude. And Murph did the show that I ended up inheriting after Howard left. Like the lineage is Stan Barron, who was deceased, Murph, Howard, me, and I've always been very appreciative and respectful of that because especially Murph and Stan are people that they're broadcasters that meant a lot to a lot of people. So.
Yeah, John, I could have talked to for hours. I had him for 45 minutes, but he was so great with me because he could have just said, "Who are you?" blah, blah, blah. But he was really good with me. And
he's a super good dude, Murph. He really is a good guy.
And that's sort of why I want to get in this profession, not for the money part or even the fame part of it. It's something I have a passion for. And when people treat you like one of your own, like when I'm trying to break in and just trying to gain experience interview, everybody's just been really great. And it just makes me want to continue to get better and better at doing this.
Excellent. Well, you're doing great.
Well, thank you. Like I said, I just had this fire lit in me 2 years ago, and I've kind of pursued it since then.
Good. Excellent.
Okay. My next question for you. Did you have a mentor when you first started out in the business? I guess you sort of mentioned Howard Simon and Murph and Stan.
Howard for sure. Murph was still around then. Like he'd moved on to TV by then, but he still came back and worked on Monday nights. And so, there were so many people there at that station then. Murph, Larry Felser with the Buffalo News, Nick Carucci with the Buffalo News, Jim Kelly. I miss him every day.
The late Jim Kelly, yes.
But yeah, Jim Kelly. Brilliant, super talented, very giving. All those people. I learned a ton from those guys. Yeah.
And like I said, when I interview every guest, I learn something from my guests too. And like I said, I just want to keep learning as much as I can and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, good. Yeah, well, I do think, if you're lucky enough to do this long enough, and, I don't want to say that 25 years is long enough because I want to keep going for a while here, but I think if you do it right, you know that people did for you. They helped you. That I think that's why any of those people you mentioned that have been so, generous with their time and helpful to you, we just want to pay it forward. That's all.
Definitely. And one of the guys, I know he's with the New England Patriots, Bob Sochi. one of the nicest guys I ever met. He's from Auburn, New York, and he gave me over an hour of his time, and he was so great. Like even though he's like with the New England Patriots, I can see why John Murphy's really good friends with Bob Sochi. This guy would give you the shirt off his back. I really enjoyed talking to him.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Good.
So, and like I said, just got a couple more questions for you, Chris.
Man, I'm good.
Okay. As long as you're good for time. Yeah, I always like to check.
I got a refreshment. I'm all right.
Oh, I need to get one after I'm done. I miss my Buffalo beer. I miss Duff Wings, and I miss the New York Beer Project.
Well, New York Beer Project is tremendous. This is a Community Beer Works, which is a Buffalo brewery. It's one of my favorites. If you ever see it, make sure you grab it. It's very good.
Okay. When I'm allowed to come across the border again, I'll make sure I do it because I like supporting these small breweries.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I miss. There's a place, Nickelbrook Brewery in Burlington, and they've got an IPA that I really like called Headstock, and I can't wait to have one. It's been a while. It's been because we weren't there, of course, last summer, but even we would have left there in September.
Yep.
I came up maybe a couple times to do things here and there or whatever, but we're going to be closing in on 2 years without a Headstock. I got to get a Headstock.
Hopefully it's not 2 years. Hopefully. Okay. Like I said, I love beer too, and I like I said, New York Beer Project and all these other ones too. Every time I go over to your area, there's like so much choice. It's like, oh my God, I want this. It's like,
I know. Don't stop. Going beer shopping is not what it used to be. Where when you're 25, you just grab they have a 55 pack of Molson Canadian. Great, I'm going to grab that, and you're in and out of the store in 5 minutes. Now it's holy cow! I went to a beer store with my wife a couple Saturdays ago, and we were in there for half an hour trying to figure out what the hell we wanted to buy.
What? So much choice. Yeah, definitely. Okay, my next question for you, Bulldog, is what was it like being hired on by WGR 550 and working with Mike Schoaf over the years and working in your hometown Buffalo market on radio?
I mean, it's been it's been a dream come true. I mean, I told you a few minutes ago, I came back here to do this, and when. And there were different, I worked with Tom Bowerly for a while in the mornings. Some people just cannot possibly fathom that happened considering how our careers and our personalities have developed over the years, but it did. I worked with Kevin Sylvester in the mornings for a while. And Kevin is still here and still a good friend. But when the change was going to get made to put me in the afternoon when Chuck Dickerson, the coach, retired, and they wanted to put me in with Mike, they asked me, what do you want? And I said, I want someone that I can grow with. I want a partnership. I was thinking about Mike and the Mad Dog. I want stability, and I want to have a chance to get embedded here. And that happened. It didn't happen immediately. Mike was at the time doing overnights on ESPN radio on the weekends, and there very much felt like I didn't know him well at all when we got paired together, and so the first few months or so there were there was a feeling like he might not be here long. He's doing overnights on ESPN, he's a rising star, and they might have a spot for him to do something on a bigger scale, right? So, but when that didn't happen, that was a big relief to me, and we've become the best of friends over the years. I mean, and to work at home, I've always thought sure, bigger cities. New York, Chicago, LA, Atlanta, I suppose, where you've got a significant transplant community, right? Just people that move there for work. Buffalo is not the kind of place you move to, usually. I mean, maybe that's changing a little, but it's the kind of place where you kind of need to know the secret handshake. And so I don't know that I'm the sort of broadcaster that could go work in Jacksonville or in, the Midwest or something. Like I don't know the jokes. I don't know the history. I don't know what makes everyone tick. And, things change. I'm not sure. I'll always have my finger on the pulse of what makes Buffalo go, but I still feel pretty comfortable that I do. And so I don't know that I could do what I do anywhere else.
One other question I was going to ask you about that is, how long did it kind of take to develop a chemistry with Mike at the beginning?
He is such a talented and smart person and broadcaster that I'm sure it wasn't seamless, but I don't remember it ever being that challenging. Like it felt relatively comfortable pretty fast. So, I don't know, how things developed on his side and why, he ended up staying here. I think, the lure of getting married and settling down, I think, whatever. But like we had something, and I think we both knew it. So it didn't feel like it was a real chore to get it done. In fact, I remember, and it comes up from time to time. This is maybe a year or two into us working together. We were doing a show at a golf course south of Buffalo, out past East Aurora, and it was one of these deals where we'd go out there and play golf and then do our show. And in those days, when we did that pretty regularly in those early years, it was a sponsored thing. It was an advertising thing, so we'd go to these golf courses. And that day, as we were getting ready to play golf, like what we would do is sort of like hash out what the show was going to be that day while we were golfing, right? Which is, it's a nice life if you can get it. And so we're playing pretty early in the round, and he divulges to me that he and his then girlfriend, soon to be wife, are traveling that weekend to Green Bay, Wisconsin, to go to his ex-girlfriend's wedding. And I remember I said to him, like, we're done talking about what we're talking about today, because this is the show today. Like, we are just going to talk about this. And trust me. And we did. And it was, to me, a very important, I don't know if he would remember it the same way, but this is how I remember it. It was an important day for him, I think, to learn how to kind of open up to the audience in a personal way that just lets people in and just sort of get comfortable with that. And not everyone is comfortable with that. Like, some people want to leave a wall up, I don't have any walls. So we just, the whole thing was, I'm just going to, dude, you're taking your girlfriend to your ex-girlfriend's wedding. What are you doing? And like, people just lined up to just let him have it. Like, you're crazy. What are you doing? You're going to ruin your relationship. And that was something. I don't know if we'd have gotten through, like, the about a year later, there was no hockey, right? The season-long lockout. And believe me, we had to get creative with what we were going to do for content. And I don't know that we would have navigated that as well as we did if we hadn't had that show that sort of opened up the whole world for us as a team. So, yeah, man, it's been great. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better partner.
Well, like I said, I've enjoyed. I even listened to him when he was with the coach too. So, like I said, it's just when I listen to you guys, it's like comfort radio. It's like I said, it's just wearing your favorite sweatshirt hoodie when you put on guys on radio. Seriously, it's like it's just because you guys you get to know you guys on the radio over the years you've been doing it.
That's high praise, man. Really, that means a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And like I said, I'm just trying to hopefully one day get into this industry and, like I said, learn from the rest of you guys. And if I'm lucky enough to make it, I'm going to make sure I help people who are trying to get in as well. Pay it forward, I call it.
Good deal. Yeah, sounds
So,
good.
okay, I just got couple more questions and that's it.
All right.
Next one I got for you is your favorite interview you've done so far, and I guess you've already mentioned some of your favorite radio personalities. So, do you have one particular interview that you really liked a lot over the years?
Boy, I'll tell you, I hate that this is the answer. By the way, I'm glad I thought of an answer. I'm terrible at these questions.
Okay,
But I do have an answer. But I'll give you a little preamble. I hope hope you're not pressed for time.
I'm good.
Much better. Like I get to be. I mean, I guess I'll call it lazy, but it's really I'm just forgetful. Like he remembers everything. I mean everything. Like everybody we've ever talked to, he knows. And sometimes he'll bring something up, and I'll be like, "We did that. I don't remember that." It's just whatever, right? I'm a little older, I guess. Maybe I'm forgetting stuff, but my answer, there's lots of obviously we've talked to hundreds and hundreds, thousands, maybe even people, and lots of famous people, but my favorite. It disappoints me that Mike wasn't there. He was off, but I had Daniel Carcillo on my show. Our show, but it was my show that day because Mike wasn't there. And I don't know if you have followed Danny's story since he stopped playing hockey, but he has been a very, very vociferous advocate for treatment on concussions. He was very tight with Steve Montador, the late Steve Montador, and Daniel has been basically fighting the system. Just from hazing in the OHL to painkillers being doled out like candy at the NHL level, misdiagnosis, lack of treatment, lack of consideration for head injuries. He has just been, I mean, really, he's out there fighting the fight. And I brought him on, and it was on a whim. Like Mike was, I think, maybe even sick. And like, so one day I reached out to Daniel on Twitter. I knew he was following me on Twitter. I don't know how that happened, but so I had access to his direct messages, and I asked him if he'd come on, and he came on. And I mean, it was just one of the most powerful things I've ever experienced. I mean, he was so poignant and raw. Oh, it was great.
Do you guys still have that on your website, that interview?
That's a hell of a question. I don't know. Well, I'd like to think you could find it somewhere but he's done lots of stuff. You can, if you want to find some idea of what I'm talking about, search the Players Tribune on Twitter.
Okay.
That's the players own, they tell their stories. He put a video up. It was a couple years ago. It was after Montador passed away, and after his career was over, and go find it. No question, you'll be able to find that on Twitter, Players Tribune, and that'll tell you all you need to know because it's all there. I mean, he's just it's just brilliant. He's great.
I will do that after I end the podcast. I'll go on Twitter and I'll look for it there. Yes.
Sorry, I'm losing my light here. I've got a light above me, but the natural light from the windows, I feel like I'm getting in the shade here. I can't.
Oh, okay. I can see you good still. So, it still stays light until 8 o'clock here now.
Yeah.
So, which is a bonus. So,
Yeah.
I just hopefully we don't do this daylight savings change anymore. I just wish they just leave it alone.
Well, I don't know. It's been that way for a long time. I'd be surprised if it changed. But
I agree. I agree. But anyways, yeah. Just two more questions. This one I think we've talked about it, but I wanted to get your opinion on this. What are your overall thoughts on the 2020 Bills, and what do you think of the chances of the 2021 Bills getting to a Super Bowl in the next year or two?
Well, last one first. I mean, they go in as a favorite. They go in as a real Super Bowl contender. They might be third or fourth at worst as far as the betting odds go for the Super Bowl. So, um, there's no guarantees. Just because you were good one year, you'll be good. But I think Josh Allen is the real deal. I think the kid works. He just works. I mean, he really wants it. Like, he's entirely believable. Everybody says they want it. Like, he is entirely believable. So I don't think he's going anywhere. And I think, provided nothing happens to him, nothing happens to any of the key guys, they'll be in the conversation this year. Can they get to a Super Bowl? Yes. Will they? I mean, come on, who knows? It's football, right? It's tough. But they've got to look at it. Their window right now is wide open. I think they've done a great job putting this team together, keeping the team together. The important pieces are all locked up. So I think they're in great shape. As far as the 2020 season goes, I mean, it was a friggin' joyride. I mean, I already told you, like, December was like a victory lap, which, given the way, we live this in the hunt existence for almost 20 years, to have a year where you're not only, in first place and in first place all year, but like December comes and you are cruising. Like, they were cruising. It was a joyride.
I was gonna say, coming from an outsider, I think the Bills are a great team. I just would say in 2021, I think they just need to get a little more pressure on the opposition quarterback with a pass rush. And to be honest, I think they still need a little more of a consistent running game. I like Zach Moss. I like Singletary, but I think they need to have a little more of a little bit more just to take a little less pressure off Allen, especially in playoff time.
Yeah, I think those are good observations. I mean, the pass rush thing for sure was it was stark in the AFC title game, and really even in the divisional round. They didn't get great. Well, no, wait, it was the first game, the Indy game, was the game that they couldn't get any pressure on Rivers either. So they Jackson, they did a really good job on. But yeah, no, they need to cover better, and it'll help the pass rush, or just find just a real hellraiser coming off the edge. I agree. The running game, we'll see. I mean, I've become kind of a fan of the idea of drafting Travis Etienne out of Clemson at 30. We'll see if they do that or not. I think they could use like a stick of dynamite type player on offense, and running back to me is the place to consider that. So we'll see. I mean, they can always improve. You got to improve. I mean, everybody else is. New England's improving. Miami's improving.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the Jets eventually will improve, but I don't think it'll happen this year. But you got to keep moving.
I was gonna say, I'm an Eagles fan. Any rumors Zach Ertz is going to come to Buffalo, or you don't see it happening?
I mean, they were rumored to be like in the mix there, but they signed the kid from Seattle, Josh Allen's college teammate, and I think that's it. I don't think they're going to add another tight end, and so I mean, if Ertz eventually were to be released, maybe they would revisit that, but I don't see them trading an asset for him at all at this point.
Yeah, like I said, the Eagles are in salary cap hell right now, and like I said, Jalen Hurts is still. I'm hoping he turns out to be another Josh Allen, but I still haven't seen enough of him to say that he will. So, but I was gonna say, Dawson Knox is not a bad tight end. I think he's still a young player, and I think he has potential to even be better next year.
I think that's still right. Yeah, tight ends, I think, traditionally take a little bit longer, or can take a little bit longer. It's pretty rare that a guy shows up and just is dominant. at that position. So that might be right. He is a good athlete. There's no question about that. We'll see if he can learn to hang on to the ball. He's got some troubles in that area.
What do you think of the new 17 games regular season schedule?
I don't. It doesn't move me either way. I definitely would not tell you it's something I needed, but it doesn't really make me mad. That they added another game. I do. I do know that I don't like thinking about the records all changing, like thinking about, 3-14 instead of 3-13, or, it just like the numbers are a little messy now. But, mostly I'm all right.
Do you think eventually they will go to 18 games, or you think 17's the max?
No, I became aware today, our Sal Capaccio told us today on the air, and I'm sure he told us this before, but I was reminded of it today. The owners, in order to get the players to agree to 17, had to agree in the CBA that was just negotiated. It's a 10-year CBA that 18 is off the table now for the life of the CBA. Now,
wow.
Both sides can agree to open it up if they want, but the players wanted some safeguard against the owners pushing for 18. So I think that's probably tabled for now.
Okay, because I know the CFL 30 years ago, they went from 16 games to 18, and then they eliminated 2 preseason games. So they do 2 preseason games and 18 regular season games. I just thought 18 would be better to make it a little more balanced than the 17, but.
Yeah, well, I think they wanted it. That was the beginning of the negotiation was 18, and the players wouldn't go for it, so they settled on it.
Yeah, because preseason football, I know the coaches love it. Every guy I've talked to is not a fan of it, but I think it is a necessary just so the coaching staff can evaluate the young players and see if some veterans can make the team. I guess the biggest threat, the fear of preseason is losing a guy to a major season injury in a meaningless game.
Yeah, happens all the time. I don't know, all the time. I mean, it happens every year. It's tough. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, college football manages without preseason games. They managed this year without preseason games. I don't think they really need them. I don't know. I think you're right. The coaches will say they love them or need them, but I don't know. I think this year maybe proves that you don't. I think it's just a way to milk fans for more money.
That's true. That's true. I would say at the minimum, I would say 2. I would say 1 home and 1 road game. I would say ideally, if you had to keep them, 2 preseason games.
Yeah, I would sign for that. Yep.
Yep, definitely. Just 2 more questions, and then that's it. I'm done. The next one is, what is your most memorable Buffalo sports memory between the Sabres, Bills, even the Bisons, and the Bandits? I'm not sure if you're a lacrosse fan or not, but
I mean, wow. I mean, I don't want to have a recency bias. I mean, I've already referenced it quite a few times. I don't think I'll ever forget this December with the Bills. I mean, really, it was that level of good or great. But going back further, Mayday is pretty great. 93 sweep of the Bruins, excuse me. That was tremendous. The AFC title game in '90 is up there, but the comeback game is probably hard to beat.
I listened to that on the radio with Van Miller on WBN 930. It wasn't the best reception, but I listened to that game and the whole time, and it was like, boy, man, I'm glad I didn't turn the radio off at halftime.
It was. I was working at a pizza place in Amherst, so like 35 minutes or so north of the stadium, but right off of the highway, and as the game turned and the comeback started, we had the game on the radio in the place. It was a big dine-in place. People that had left the game but still were listening started pulling off the highway and coming into the pizza place to listen to the game because they couldn't believe what was happening. That's my answer. That's a great memory. Being subject to not, there's no TV. You just got it on the radio. You got a crew of people working with you. Everyone is really wrapped up in it. And then to have people who had been at the game coming in to experience it with you was
something.
That was a really, really cool day.
That's a once in a generation comeback because that was unreal.
Yeah, it was really, really, really great. Yeah.
So, okay, and my last question for you, Bulldog, is this is not just for me, but do you have any advice you would give to any of those people, not just besides me, looking to pursue a career in radio media broadcasting?
Well, I mean, you gotta love it. It sounds like you do. Yeah, I think be honest with yourself about it. Seek out criticism, seek out advice, and listen to it, and listen to yourself. Right, go back and think about how you did what you did. And was it good? When you listen to it back, do you like how you phrased this? Do you like how the position you put the person you're asking the question in? Did you just work through it? Because there's a lot that goes into it to come off sounding like kind of hanging out talking. And I think it's a craft. So. Work at it, do the work. You want to get good at it. You have to do it. And then you have to analyze what you've done and try to improve on it.
Practice and reps. That's what I've been told.
That's right. Yeah.
And I've been doing this twice a week, for 11 months now.
All right.
So, and like I said, at first I couldn't get anybody to come on, but you know what? The last 5 months, it just seems like you keep working at it. And like I said, I really appreciate you coming on tonight, Bulldog. It really means a lot because I've always enjoyed your work, and Mike Schultz and Sal Capoccio said he might even come on, and same with Howard Simon. So, and I like I said, I love doing this. I really love sports. I love talking to people, and it's great to be able to talk to somebody like you who's been in radio for a long time.
Good deal, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. Keep grinding.
I will. Before I let you go, you got two. I don't know if you're following the NCAA March Madness. You got any picks for tonight's games if you're going to watch?
No, I don't. It's not something I've been really all that up on. I know Gonzaga looks great. They're already playing, I think. I don't have a TV.
Yes.
But I told my son to pick Alabama to win it all because their coach was the UB coach, Nate Oates, and of course they got bounced over the weekend. So it's not my area.
Okay. I normally don't watch a lot of it, but when it comes to March Madness, it's just so many upsets, and it's so exciting, and I really enjoy. I'm just glad it's back this year. So sure. I'm picking Gonzaga and Michigan tonight to win.
All right.
So, but anyways, Bulldog, I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much for coming on, and I hope maybe in the future, maybe in the summertime or fall when the NFL starts up, you might be able to come back on again.
Be happy to do it, Chris.
Okay, thank you so much, Bulldog. You have a good night.
You too. You're welcome. Really enjoyed it. Good job.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care.
Yep.
Bye. Anyways, guys, I just want to say thank you again to Chris Parker, aka the Bulldog, Schof and the Bulldog, Monday to Friday, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. on WGR 550, or you can listen to them on WGR 550.com. Shope and the Bulldog have been together since 2003, and they're one of my favorite radio duos. So, and the Bulldog's got over 25 years of experience in radio. So, guys, everybody who's watched this tonight, thank you so much. And I really, again, I appreciate the Bulldog coming on. Really good guest tonight. And like I said, I'm gonna make another thing here too, and this is for my friend. This is my new segment at the end of every show. CDP's Guelph Business of the Week is Wimpy's Diner, 25 Wyndham Street in Guelph. You can call them at 519-836-3765 or visit their website at wimpysdiner.ca for the best burger in town. I just went to Wimpy's the other day downtown Guelph on Sunday, and I had just their junior burger and fry, and it filled me up. The burgers are real fresh, and the food is really good. So, yeah, CDP's Guelph Business of the Week, Wimpy's Diners. Check it out downtown Guelph at that number again, and visit their website at wimpysdiner.ca for the best burger in town. So I'm going to try to do one Guelph Business of the Week to promote on my podcast. So anyways, guys, I got some other stuff to announce. Let's see. My next guest will be this Saturday night. I'll put her picture up here. Okay, my next show will be this Saturday, April 3rd at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Stand-up comedian Lauren Kirschner from LA, California will be coming on 30 Minutes Live with CDP. So I hope you guys can tune in to my next show this Saturday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 on the West Coast. And I will be interviewing stand-up comedian Lauren Kirschner from Los Angeles, California. So anyways, anyways, guys, like I said, I really appreciate the Bulldog coming on tonight. Really good guy. And like I said, you guys can listen to Shope and the Bulldog Monday to Friday, 3 to 7 on WGR 550. And like I said, guys, my college picks tonight, I'm picking Gonzalez to beat USC, which is underway right now, 7:15 game. They should probably be at halftime. And the other game tonight is UCLA taking on Michigan at 9:57 on CBS. I'm picking Michigan, so I'm picking Michigan and Gonzaga to win tonight. But with college basketball, you just never know what happens and stuff like that. So, but anyways, guys, I'm gonna call it a night. But hey, just want to say thank you all again for coming on 30 Minutes Live with CDP. Please give me your feedback if you enjoyed the show tonight with the Bulldog from WGR 550 in Buffalo. And I am working hard to get some more guests on for you guys. So anyways, guys, make sure you check out Wimpy's Diner, downtown Guelph, 25 Wyndham Street in Guelph, or check out wimpysdiner.ca. Okay, anyways, I'm going to call it a night. We'll see you Saturday night at 9 o'clock with comedian Lauren Kirschner. Good night, guys. Thanks for tuning in to 30 Minutes Live with CDP, your bro.